Austin, it's time to buy stuff again.
Oh yeah, capitalism.
It's everybody's favorite time of year. This is always a big episode for us. It's the Christmas Battleforce box reveal.
Oh yeah.
Some of them are pretty good. And you know what? They all have a place, don't they? We're going to talk about what's in them. We're going to talk about what we think of them relative to armies that you may or may not already have. And just sort of, I mean, we've got the points that they all are as of October 7th, 2025. Okay? So we've got all that, but before we get started, I'm Shane, that's Austin, this is 40K Fanatics Podcast, and we're going to read some of your comments. We're going to open up the Vox channel and see what you guys had to say about our last podcast, which was AP is killing 40K. By the way, there's also another last podcast, which was an RPG Tavern, where we talked about Austin's first time being a game master of any sort, and in this particular case, it was in the Planet of the Apes RPG, the tabletop role-playing game of the Planet of the Apes, I believe it is called. And it's quite good. Go check out that episode. A couple of the comments on that are very insightful from some fans of the show, talking about their experiences with DMing and how to really get good fast. All right? So go check that out. But here are some comments on our last pod. We got quite a few. Disgustingly resilient podcast. Oh, we might have to have them on.
Oh, what?
This guy is Disgustingly Resilient Podcast.
Oh my goodness, collaboration?
Man, I feel like we need to have a little home and home. Disgustingly Resilient, sir or ma'am. If you're listening to this, hit us up. We'll do a little home and home. We'll have you on, you have us on. It'll be fun. He says, they say, I despise mechanics like +1 to wound and full rerolls with silly AP. I play Death Guard, and half the time I'm being shot by stuff that either has full rerolls to wound, or +1 to wound, or God forbid both, and I'm just like, I'm so glad I'm paying points for this increased toughness stat that can be ignored by pretty much everything. Yeah, we feel you. Quite a few of the comments we're talking about, it's rerolls. And don't worry, we're going to get to them. Jason Trump, frequent contributor, says, yes, the level of losing units is feeling high as players. We figure out what is the best at killing. I don't know if AP is too high, as it sounds like you are not using terrain benefits of cover. In effect, reduces everything by AP1 and really is easy to get. No, we're doing cover. The idea is kind of just guy shoots at guy, it doesn't feel great. But I hear what you're saying, Jason Trump. He continues, I do kind of like the idea of looking at all weapon profiles and maybe looking at adding keywords or other things over stat lines. Also, comments for the YouTube. Great tips. Listen to the audio podcast on the weekend and re-listen and comment on the YouTubes. Thank you, Jason Trump, for all of that good listening that you're doing. And look, you don't have to be a freaking contributor. We had never heard of Disgustingly Resilient Podcast, but now we have, because whether it's good, bad, or otherwise, we will read your comments. We love that bleep. 135 Forte says, the only thing people hate more than their units dying fast is your units being unable to kill their opponent's units. There's way too much stuff on the table with cover in 10th to have all your attacks bounce because only 11% of your attacks can convert. Now, I see what they're saying there, but I disagree a little bit.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I think the idea that in a tabletop war game, I don't think that stuff surviving is actually a bad thing. Because you and I play Old World quite a bit, and it's very fun, and stuff just sticks around in that game, and I never feel upset about that fact. I think this idea of trading, which is a very common thing in skirmish games, I kill your guy, but I know that's going to be a trade because now my guy's in the open and I know you're going to take my guy, is a very chess sort of way of thinking. And I think that with 40k being as deadly as it's been for the last while, and talk about AP, that's what we were talking about. I think that we're into this mentality of trading whole units, and I don't know if that is really in the spirit of what a whole war game should be. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's sort of horses for courses and the kind of taste that you may have. Here's a longer one, and this one is really good. It's disagreeing with us, and it's 4 points, I believe. Here we go. This comes from Wolf 5821. They say, hopefully I can get my point written clearly enough. I agree there should be more distinction between units in the game. I don't think wounds is the way to go, though. First off, if you want to try 3 wound Space Marines, try Heavy Intercessors. 2. Having 2 wound Guardsmen makes no sense, tracking wounds as mentioned, but also that would encourage more 2 damage weapons. Now let me stop right there. Oh, yeah, let me stop right there just for a second, because I think that's a neat point, where he's like, well, if the chaff are 2 wounds, then we're just going to have a bunch of 2 damage weapons. Yeah, that's probably true. I think that we sort of are in a spot where the creep, the power creep is always happening, and I think it might as well go in some different directions because it's already creeping.
Mm.
They continue. AP is a problem, I agree, partly because of cover, but when, as you say, you get 5+ Space Marine because of AP with 2 damaged weapons, making each save a lost Space Marine, rather than losing 1 wound and staying alive, lower all damage of weapons by 1. I'm not mad about that either. I think I'm editorializing now again. Yeah, I like that idea. We'd have a whole lot more 1 damage weapons, which would not be the end of the world. 3. The term horde, or 4, I'm sorry. I don't think there was a 3, but we're at 4 now. The term horde for Space Marines is wrong, yet I agree with you. 80 Marine bodies is too many for an semi-elite force. Space Marines can get up to 130, 140 maxed out models. A horde is 200+ bodies. If you lower Space Marines to 60 or fewer, then you run into how many models should min-max Custodes run. Aspect Eldar, Sisters of Battle. For now, though, we can enjoy the game we have. Thank you for reading. And we did read. And I do enjoy the game we have. I hope that our listeners don't forget that, because I do quite like 40k. I know you're a little bit out on it right now, but that makes for good discussion for the purposes of having a podcast. I've got a couple more because they've just been there's a bunch. We'll probably read more of them next week. Armor Class Hero says, timestamp 23 minutes, 80 Space Marines, you think that's a horde? And they laugh at us. What else do we have? Rob Noel 9306 says, I would argue modifiers are killing 40k. There are so many bonuses to hit, wound, and rerolls that dice have been mostly taken out of the game. And that I agree with hugely. And we'll talk about that when we get to our rerolls are killing 40k, which will be coming soon, I think. There was one more that I wanted to read. Stand by as I scroll. Fill any time. Comment with what you like if you want to.
Standing by and standing back.
Well, okay, this guy. Jacob Reed 246 says, maybe get to the topic before people click away.
I think I actually responded to that.
You did. You said that we try to put the timestamps in the videos so that people can skip to the main topic. And we encourage you to skip to the main topic if you don't like hearing your comments read. Or, as we will now put the comments away and close the Vox channel for this week, but we'll be back next week with more of your comments. We always read comments, good, bad, or otherwise, positive or negative. Even some that don't even make sense. We've read some before that just seem like non sequiturs. We like those. They're funny. It is now time for the second part of the show, which you may skip if you choose, but it's the Bits Box. Open it up. The Bits Box with the highest of production, provided by Austin on the soundboard, that is installed into his face. The Bits Box is the part of the show where we talk about what we've done in the miniature gaming hobby this week. We also have a totally free to join Discord linked below. There is a Bits Box channel therein where you can see our progress on our various projects, and you can even post your own and discuss. It's a lovely time. There's some beautiful models in there, and some stuff that is just tabletop ready because that's how the way people like them. And that's okay too. Austin, what have you done this week in the miniature wargaming hobby?
Well, I've been kind of busy, but I did stop by the local game store on Saturday. If you guys recall, we did an episode a while back about downsizing your pile of shame, and just trying to get rid of things in general that you aren't really finding joy in anymore. And I was delivering some Blood Bowl models, the high, or not the high elves, they're just Elven Union, delivering those models back to their previous owner, Gabe. He had given me those to start Blood Bowl with, but I have the gnomes now, so I don't necessarily want to play the elves anymore. So I was there giving them back, and they're playing some Saga up there, and I was kind of getting the itch to play Saga again.
And for
So
the
I've
people
been
that don't know Saga, what is that?
Saga is a 28 millimeter scale historical skirmish game that uses a battle board system, which is kind of like a board that you roll dice and are able to use your dice pool to correspond to using abilities in the game. It covers time periods from about the age of Alexander, so kind of like ancient Greeks and stuff, up to their latest book, which is Age of Chivalry, which is the late medieval period, stuff like the Battle of Agincourt, Burgundian Wars, Italian Wars, stuff like that.
Yeah, they all the battle board thing makes them make all armies. If you imagine world eaters and their roll the dice and pick some abilities, except you
Yeah,
get to pick them as you go. It's
yeah,
neat.
it's literally just about the World Eaters board, whatever they have. It plays like that.
Yeah, Saga's good. Do we call it a war game or a skirmish game? Do you feel?
Well, considering that the game is played on primarily circle bases, square bases are allowed in the game, but it's designed primarily for circle bases. Moving in a skirmish sort of way, I'd consider it a skirmish game. People use movement trays just to make the movement easier, but it's not like a movement tray you would have in like a rank and flank.
Yeah, but then the model count is almost that of a 1,000 point 40K game, so it's a little bit it's right on the edge. And of course, you can play bigger Saga matches if you want. But um, yeah, you told me you were looking at buying a 40K model, a character, and then you thought, but for this price, I could have a whole bag full of dudes for Saga.
Yeah, yeah, it was like $40 for this Cadian Castellan or $40 for like 60 guys for Saga
Yeah,
because I really want to do the Swiss.
yeah, it sparked a price conversation, which we often have, and which the whole community often has with 40K. And I pointed out, I'm like, well, it's 40K is the Harley Davidson of this motorcycle analogy, which is you could get the wind in your hair on a Honda. You're just going to have some of your buddies laugh at your Honda, which is fine. I don't, here's the other thing that's where miniature war games and 40K is actually a little bit nicer than the motorcycles is no 40K player is actually going to laugh at your Saga army. They're all going to think it's really cool.
Yeah.
So, you want to do who? Who do you want to build for Saga?
I was wanting to do the Swiss. I was going to get some European mercenary models from Perry Miniatures and just paint them up as Swiss soldiers from the city of Bern, uh, which is real interesting. A lot of like pike formations and halberds and handguns and crossbows, uh, and then some mounted crossbowmen.
Neat. Well, I've been struggling. I've been too busy. I've had a lot of shows to play, a lot of places to travel to. That's put a that's put a damper on my hobbying. And
Oh my
oh,
gosh,
what
sorry.
did you do? What did you?
I dropped something. Sorry
Um,
to interrupt the podcast. Anyway,
we'll edit it out. We won't edit it out. Anyway, um, the other thing is I've been disheartened a little bit. I have been working on this Helldrake project. If you guys are frequent listeners, you've heard me talk about it. It's got a whole elaborate basing thing, and it was built and ready to prime. And I say was because I went to prime it. And I put this big old thing upon my large painting handle, loaded up my airbrush with primer, tipped it 15 degrees. The entire thing popped off the handle onto the desk. The Helldrake atop the tower broke off, bent the rod that holds it aloft, and then that whole situation required some disassembly. So
oh my
now what
god.
I've got is a primed base, and I've got a Helldrake with no way to attach it to the base. So I've got to rethink how I'm going to attach it to the base. But then also, it is clear to me that I'm not really going to be able to paint this thing on any kind of handle altogether. So I've got to figure out now some sort of way to hold this thing, to paint it, and then reattach it somehow. And it's a whole thing, and it sucks. And the best I've come up with is to prime and paint the bottom, which is going to be a quicker paint job than the top, obviously, because you really have to be looking under the skirt to see any of the bottom. But I do want it painted to some standard. So my plan right now is to kind of hold it in my hand, prime the
Mhm.
bottom and the sides, to sort of, I can't just go straight lay it down and prime it because then there'll be edges and stuff that are missed, right?
Yeah.
Which is going to completely paint my arm black. Then I'm going to hold it and paint the bottom. Then I'm going to varnish the bottom. Then I'm going to flip it over, prime the top, paint the top to like the standard that I intend for its final form. And that just feels like that's going to feel terrible when I've painted the bottom, bottom's done. Okay, here we go. Start anew. Hope that you don't get too much primer overspray on the other side, right? Like it's just going to
Mm.
be because the problem with the priming is you can't really set the thing down anywhere once you prime it. Like you
Yeah.
you can't just set it on paper or anything. I've even tried like plastic wrap and that kind of stuff. It puts creases and nonsense in your primer. So this is the best way I've come up with to actually get it done. But it just sucks and it feels like work and I'm not having fun. It does not spark joy. I'm going to be glad when it's over with and it's probably going to look great. But right now, no fun. I need a I'm a I'm going to need a Judge Dredd model or some sort of character, something to uh, cleanse my palate after this.
Yeah. It sounds horrible.
It is rough. I mean, my wife asked, "Well, what do other people do? How do they hold it to build it and stuff?" And I said, "Well, they put it on." And I grabbed the crappy looking clear flight stand that it comes with. They grab this and then glue it onto this, and it
Mhm.
sucks. I don't want to do that. I'm
Yeah.
trying. I'm trying to be fancy and bougie. You know how I am. Anyway,
Mhm.
let's close the bits box.
Closing it. Boom.
We got a lot to talk about. It's a shopping day, or it's about to be. The Battleforce boxes of 2025 have been revealed. Do you want to lead this thing? This was your idea to go over them.
Oh yeah, I can do that.
I feel like I've talked for 17 of these 19 minutes.
Yeah, I feel like I need to give you a break after that whole Heldrake story.
I know. I'm sad about it. Would you believe I would you believe I was profane as it clattered all around my painting desk?
I can just imagine.
Meanwhile, keep in mind, in one hand, I'm now holding an empty painting handle very suddenly. In the other hand, a completely full to the brim airbrush. It's like, well, now what do I do?
Yeah.
I just poured the airbrush into my paint water cup. It was a mess. Anyway,
So we've got new battle boxes coming for 40K. I believe these are the Christmas boxes. They don't really make any mention of that, but obviously there's no other place for a big release of boxes like this besides Christmas.
yeah, and they're not. Did they used to call them start collecting, or was that a different time of year?
Start collecting were the boxes they used to release before combat patrols.
Oh, right. They were
They,
the
they
smaller
were
boxes.
they, they were like just a hair step down from combat patrols. They had like maybe like one less unit in them.
Yeah, because these are those long boxes. If you're new to 40K, they're probably 2 feet wide, and they look real substantial usually.
Yeah.
Um, let's take it from the top. We're just going down the Warcom article. Well said. Well said. We're just going down the Warcom war. I can't do it.
We are looking at the Warhammer community article released yesterday, actually. And we're going to start with the first one. We're going to start with the Blissbound Warband. This is a Emperor's Children battle box. It contains uh, kind of just a 3 unit selection. You've got Noise Marines and the Flawless Blades. And then in the center, you have here a brand new Fulgrim model that released earlier a couple months ago.
I hope that some of our fans will clip me having a stroke trying to say Warcom. But with that out of the way, um, am I tripping, or have they already done this box with Fulgrim and a couple of things, or was that with Lucius and a couple of things?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, they did release the Emperor's Children box, which most definitely did not contain the big Snake Man.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I want to say last year when World Eaters came out, they had kind of the same box, right? It was
Mhm.
it was Angron and a couple of his elite units, accompanying him, and that's what this is. And I think it's great because if you haven't pulled the trigger on your Primarch yet, then this is the way to do it. Now,
Yeah, I've seen some people get disappointed saying they have already bought Fulgrim, so now this box is kind of pointless.
yeah, I mean, look, my opinion with boxes is if you already have a whole army or very nearly a whole army, then I don't think the boxes are necessarily for you. I feel like the boxes are for people that have half an army, right?
Yeah,
Either by way of a combat patrol or by way of the kind of popular stuff. And then these, and I think this is going to bear out as we go, they kind of, well, with a couple of exceptions, they kind of fill some of the rest out. But
yeah. These are most definitely kind of a combat patrol uh, supplemental.
yeah, and supplemental is a good phrase because I've done some maths to the best of my ability while I was on the potty just before we started, and I've got this box clocking in at 705 points. Most of them, of course, being taken up by your boy Fulgrim.
Hmm.
So, I mean, look, it's a Primarch box. If you don't have your Primarch, you need your Primarch. Just if nothing else, because he's a beautiful centerpiece to your table.
Yeah, and it's I think the unit selection is pretty good. You get your Noise Marines, you get your Flawless Blades, and if you don't have any Flawless Blades, I think this is a good amount to get. I don't know much about list building with Emperor's Children, but I don't imagine you would want any more than just that, unless you're going to want to run 2 units of like 6 or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's the Noise Marines you'd want more of. And keep in mind that there are a whole lot of Emperor's Children armies bumping around that use regular old Chaos Space Marine stuff from the before time, and that's totally fine. And so this is getting you those specialty units that you don't have, or giving you an updated Noise Marine that you don't have. Um, and of course, the big money in this is getting your Primarch because, I mean, Do you even have an army if you don't have a Primarch?
It's a big concern of some people to have Primarchs.
Says the guy that plays Chaos Space Marine, and everybody always wants to remind me that Abaddon is in fact not a Primarch. Tell that to his sword that will chop all of you down. Next, we've got some Leagues of Votann.
Yeah, this is the Cthonian Prospect. I'm sure I have butchered that pronunciation, but oh well. It
I
looks
thought it
like
was
you get.
Chthonian
I have
Prospect.
no idea, but anyway, going on with the dwarves, we have two of the mortar launch things. We have a grav vehicle. We've got some of the guys in the exosuits. We have a good amount of the definitely not science fiction dwarf slayers, and we have little robot buddies.
You're not taking any swings at these at these Nordic names and pronunciations, are you?
I'm just calling it as I see it.
You got nothing for the Brockier Iron Master with Ironkin, or the
Mm.
Brockier Thunderkin, the Chthonian Earth Shakers.
Listen, you know that movie with I think Tom Cruise was in it. It's about the guy who keeps dying on the beach in the science fiction battle.
Live, die, repeat.
It's something like that. But anyway, that's all I can think about with these guys in the exosuits. Every time I see that, I think of that movie.
That's a good movie, and I've never seen it, but everybody says that's a great movie. I'm gonna have to watch that. It's called Edge of Tomorrow in the
Yeah, Edge of
in the
Tomorrow. That's
West.
it.
Um, so look, this is a lot of the new stuff that just came out, and I think it's a great box. I think if
Yeah.
you've got a, I think if you've got a bunch of those, the dwarf Terminator equivalent, whatever they are, if you've got a bunch of that and some Hecaton Land Fortress and that other little transport that they have, then a bunch of bikes, you add this, you're going to be looking great. I calculated it at 535 points.
Oh, that's decent.
Yeah, I mean, so the range I've got here is 465 to 800 between all these boxes. So that's the sort of band we're working in, points wise. Up next, we've got my favorite one of these boxes.
I hate this box.
This box is awesome. It's the Crusher Stampede for the Tyranids.
Yeah, you get a. This is. I was telling you about this earlier in our chat. I was telling you this is the Tour of Italy equivalent for Tyranids. If you are familiar with the Olive Garden menu, this is the Tour of Italy.
Explain your beef with the Tour of Italy.
I'm not saying the Tour of Italy is a bad menu option. What I'm saying is it presents you a select palette of individual dishes. So you see here, you get your I don't even know what half the stuff is. You get your Alfredo Tyrannifex, your lasagna Screamer Carnifex, your Bug Buddy, whatever else that is.
Maliceptor.
Yeah, but I,
Harrispex.
my problem with it is it just feels like there's no real theme going on with this box. It's all just oops, all monsters. This is if you're a Tyranid player and you want to pick up some monsters to add to your army. Like if you're playing several different lists and you're like, I need some monsters to be able to swap out between games. This is the box you would buy to be able to swap out some different monsters in your list. Because as it is, there's nothing cohesive about this. And additionally, two of these models, if you have bought the Leviathan box as a Tyranid player, you already own these models.
Yeah, which one? I believe that'd be the Neuro Tyrant and the Screamer Killer.
Correct.
So here's the thing. All right. So to you know Vince Venturella, Vincey V.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's why you're wrong. 735 points of big stompy monster, and I love it. I love it. I love it because oh shoot, I've got two Screamer Killers. That's never a bad thing. Crusher Stampede, I believe, is actually the name of the detachment that you would want to run all big monsters for Tyranids, and it's a very popular one. I've played many people that play uh, the big monsters only. So this box is awesome, man, especially if you're one of these people that started your Tyranids as a horde and you've just got, 400 Termagants and that kind of stuff. Then you go buy this box and it's like, you got all the options in the world. You can take a half a horde and two monsters or whatever. Your shelf is going to look incredible. I love it. I just think it's such a neat. You know what it is? And we'll get to it later. This is the opposite of the guard one. This is what people would like one of these army boxes to be for guard one day. Like, can I
Now,
have 5 or 6 tanks, please? Thank you.
I will say this is also the opposite of the guard one in that the guard one actually feels like a force you're buying. This feels like nothing.
I don't know, man. I think the table presence on this. Can you imagine, imagine you're 10 and you're some sort of crazy 10-year-old like you probably were, and I know I was, and you're getting grown up toys for Christmas, but you get this thing and you get them all built, and you've got 5 giant monsters in front of you. Oh, nothing like it. Anyway,
So, my last point is, so if I had to do Austin's director's cut of this box for a Crusher Stampede box, what I would do is I'd actually box Carnifexes in this, have like maybe 1 or 2 unit of Carnifexes along with maybe something else, a Tyrannifex or something, just to try to get kind of a more thematic box going on with this, rather than just like throw a dart at a board and pick a monster unit and put it in the box.
well, we don't have to agree on all of them. Get in the comments and let us know what do you think about that box in particular, because I think that's that one is the special sauce box of this group, in my opinion, because it's weird. It's not an army. It's certainly a force, but I I like it. Up next, Tau has a box.
It's the Farsight Cadre.
Moving on. No, I'm kidding.
I kind of like this box just because it's Farsight. Farsight's interesting. You get your Commander Farsight, a Riptide battlesuit, broadside battlesuit, and you get 3 Crisis.
3 crisis
Battlesuits.
suits, which I think you could build 3 different ways.
But yeah, the thing I was looking at, I was trying to figure out the difference between all these units that you could build. But where's the see? Okay, the broadside's the guy with the gun.
Yes. And
Okay,
I calculated this at 465 points, subject to a little bit of customization. I'm not sure if the little drones count for anything or if they're just markers, but so I don't know about the points on that. Did you know Commander Farsight is only 80 points?
that's wild.
I know. I couldn't
about
believe that.
85.
Oh yeah, he could have been 85. It was crazy low. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I feel like Tau is stuck. Like they're just all anybody wants is the suits, and I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. But if you
It makes
want
sense in this box.
if you want more suits, we got some suits. It's a little bit, you know, it's not dissimilar to the Fulgrim box where you get the named guy and his associates. So I like that. I think the red paint job is nice.
Yeah, I think that's also one. So you get just a handful of Farsight's buddies. You don't get the whole cadre.
That'd be a lot of stuff. They
That'd just
must.
be like two more models to get all 8 of them.
Oh, would that give you one of each of
Well, that
all the
would give
battlesuit
you.
types?
Well, it's like he. Do you know Commander Farsight's lore?
No, I do not.
Okay, so his whole thing is he broke away from the Tau. I could be getting some of this wrong, but the big like glaze over is that uh, he essentially has broken away from the Tau to go on his own little mission with his own little cadre of like buddies and followers who are out doing their own little mission. So it's kind of like you have him, and then you have these other characters in their battle suits, and they go do stuff. It's a real popular kind of like army collecting and modeling thing is to create these characters from the books on the tabletop. So
That's
when you
neat.
build when you build a Farsight army, you kind of try to include all the characters in it.
They're
It's kind of
they're
like Transformers.
yeah, well they're like a little roving band of samurai warriors, I guess.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Um, well, I mean, I know Tau players love suits, and there's a box of suits. So if they're happy, I'm happy. Who do we have next?
Up next, we have the Iron Halo Strike Force. This is Space Marines.
This is Space Marines.
I
I
like it. I like
calculated
this
this
box.
at 740 points.
Yeah.
And you've got a character in here. Obviously, add 40 points to these numbers for enhancements that you could put on, or however much your enhancement would cost to go on the various characters. Um,
Actually, this list I'm looking at shows it at 805.
all right. This is a neat box. And the reason I like it is because it gives you that oh gosh, what are they called? The Company of Heroes. Those Company
Yeah.
of Heroes are awesome.
Now I have a counterpoint to this.
Go ahead.
I don't like this box because it has the Company of Heroes.
But the Company of Heroes look so good.
Yes, they do look good. However, in the inner machinations of Austin's undecipherable plans with 40K, this box has caused a bit of an issue with another army idea that's been brewing.
Oh. Oh, so Austin is looking selfishly upon this.
See,
He is. What do they got over on space? You're sniffing around Space Marines.
so there's this box, but the Imperial Fist Combat Patrol that just came out also contains the Company of Heroes.
Well, you can't have two companies of heroes, can you?
Yeah, I know that is the dilemma that could be facing Austin.
Hmm. I'm very interested in this dabbling of Space Marines that Austin is suddenly interested in. I'm also interested in this third person, Austin. Who is this person?
Ooh, wouldn't you like to know?
I'm tired of Hellblasters. Can I say that? Get in the
Yeah,
comments. Are you tired of Hellblasters? This whole idea that they blow themselves up or you shoot them or whatever and then they shoot you back is obnoxious. I am tired of
I
them.
like it.
They are priced to the moon because of it, which is how you know that it's not that cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Get
feel
out
like
of here with them.
they're kind of the odd man out in this box, and that everything else kind of feels like they go together, and then you have Hellblasters.
That's because they're too good. They're so good that they know everybody wants them. They've thrown them into this box because they know that people will just be like, oh, but you get 5 Hellblasters. So I was on the fence a second ago, but now I'm in.
Yeah, because you got like you have your Company of Heroes, you have your Stern Guard, you have two Dreadnoughts, and that feels like a cohesive kind of theme going on. And then it's like, and then here's Hellblasters. You could
Right.
literally put anything else there, Intercessors, and it would make a bit more sense. Or even I think Terminators would be too much to put there, but any other like $60 box equivalent.
Scouts.
I
J-
I don't
j-
know. I feel like Scouts would be too much of a because this feels more like the company elite. Because you got your company of heroes and your Stern Guard veterans and your two dreadnoughts. I just feel like I don't know. I'm not sure what you could put there that would
when
also feel good.
in my mind, the scouts are just lugging the gear that the Stern Guard vets and everybody needs. You know what I mean? They're not even they're like non-combatants. They're just dragging stuff, polishing these dudes' helmets and iron halos and whatnot. But I think that's a good
Maybe some.
box. I like the double dreadnought. I think that's cool.
Mhm.
Um, you know, is one or both of those dreadnought the push fit from the Leviathan box?
The Basilisk would or the Ballistus would.
That's what I thought. Up next,
Up next, we have the Hellforged Warband. This is Chaos Space Marines.
Chaos Space Marines. Now, I calculated this one at 800 points. It appears to be the most points, and it's just because they were like, yada, 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 and we've got too many Chaos Rhinos laying around, so throw one in.
Yeah. This feels like an extended version of the classic Chaos Space, or not really classic, but whenever they first did the resculpts of Chaos Space Marines back in 8th edition, this feels like exactly like that box with a couple additions.
Yeah, so the big one here, I mean, this box doesn't interest me because the only thing in it that I don't have is the Lord Discordant on Hellstalker. And I do want one of those. He's on my list. Um, but you get the sprue for the Venom Crawler and the Obliterators, which are great. They're all the Obliterator's great. The Venom Crawler's cool to have because it all comes on one frame. You get a Rhino. I love a Rhino. I don't know how much these boxes are. I'm sure they're going to be $40 more than last year, or maybe what $30 more than last year probably. But
Maybe.
the Lord Discordant and the Rhino would. I mean, I don't know what do those two things add up to? $70 for Lord Disco Lord.
Probably like 120, 130.
Yes, I'd still be another $150 worth of stuff. So this box is probably not for me, but it's just a good box. You get your 10 Legionary, you get 5 Havocs, who you can have with all their heavy weapons and whatnot. And then the other stuff is the other stuff. The Disco Lord got a big facelift recently, and so he's kind of. Yeah, I see why they chose him to be the centerpiece of this one.
I think this is actually a pretty good starting for Chaos Space Marines if someone wants to get into them.
It's a lot of points.
Yeah, well, you get a pretty good bit of things. You've got your battle line Chaos Space Marines. You got a Rhino to stick them in. You got Havocs for heavy support, Obliterators for heavy support. Then you got your Skittery Man for uh, being your kind of like big monster thing or medium monster
And
going
and then,
around.
and then he's flanked by another small monster. No, you're right. It's great. Um, yeah. If you have the combat patrol and this, you're looking good.
Yeah, I think it's a good box.
Yeah. The last one.
The Krieg Sieged Platoon.
How do you feel? So you're an Astra Militarum player, but you haven't been for a little while, really. But those are the models that you have, um, and you're not the hugest fan of Krieg in the world. I don't feel like.
They're okay. It's just I don't know. They're I
Does
don't
it
really know what to say about them.
does it feel like does it feel like Astra Militarum's identity is being changed to just be Krieg? Because
No, because Cadia also got a big facelift.
I suppose.
Here's the thing. So guard, the spirit of guard is that you have like a trillion planets in the galaxy, and each one could have guard regiments being pulled from it. So you have like a trillion possible guard regiments to come up with. So the problem with guard is that you have this infinite diversity and infinite combination thing going on, but you're dealing with a toy line, and you have I'm not gonna say it's like a crab bucket thing, but you have like a bucket of all the guard regiments, and you have Cadia trying to claw its way to the top, and you have Krieg trying to claw its way to the top, and you have like Catachan attempting one
Cat,
day to go to the
cat
top, and you have all these. You have Talarn, and you have the Mordians, and you have the Elysian drop troops. You have everyone else at the bottom dying, already dead.
Yeah, yeah. Catachan is is the the corpse at the bottom of the pool of the meme, right? Just
Yeah,
sitting
you
on the
just had,
bottom, drowning. So here's my 2 cents on this, and then I promise we'll talk about the box itself. Um, Cadians are a little bit generic soldier dudes. And like you say, we're dealing with a toy line, but not only are we dealing with the toy line, we're dealing with like a intellectual property sort of entity, right? And the
Yeah.
Krieg have got this look that looks like something, and the Cadians less so, and then the Catachan hardly at all. I mean, they well, they look like the dudes from Predator, but you sort of go down the ramp of recognizability to 40K particularly, which is why it feels like Krieg is taking up more and more oxygen from the rest. Is kind of the way that it feels to me.
They've
Um,
always been popular. They've just been a Forge World army.
sure.
So the majority of people have been priced out of them. But what I was trying to say is, it's like you've got all these potential regiments, but uh, Games Workshop isn't going to make every single regiment. They just can't do that.
No,
Like
and
they can have every flavor of Marines, but that's just like all the different Skittles. You just recolor them.
right, because what is it? All the Fruit Loops taste the same. They're just different color.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think too that the market is speaking. I think that look, I think us neckbeard nerds like the gas mask. We just really do. And so it's like, all right, if the choice is between Catachan, Cadian, Krieg for GW to make more of, they're like, well, you guys love this Krieg stuff, so here, have some more. Meanwhile, the Catachan fans are like, don't forget us.
They're definitely holding out on a Kill Team release.
Ooh, that would be a really neat kill team too.
Yeah, but yeah, I like this box. I like it because it feels like a force. I think you have 2 infantry squads, you have 1 engineering squad, and then you have the field guns and a command squad. I feel like this is a good
And a
start
commissar.
for. Yeah, uh, yeah, that's true.
I've got it.
I was counting him with the command squad.
Yeah, he's separate. I've got
Yeah,
him at. I've got this thing at 490 points.
that sounds about right.
Yeah, which is, I mean, let's be honest. It's a it's an on foot chunk of your guard army, which needs to be a bunch of tanks, right? So this is a box. It's the opposite of the Tyranid one, where the Tyranid one is like, do you have a lot of little small creepy crawlies? Here's the box for you. This one is like, did you go oops all tanks a little too hard? Here's some bodies to stand around
Yeah,
to
I
make it
don't know.
actually look like guard instead of
So
whirl of tanks.
this kind of runs into the same problem with the Space Marine box. Is that this one contains the command squad, and the Krieg Start Collecting box also contains the command squad. So now you're doubling up on command squads,
Which
which
they
I don't like doing.
uh, now, I didn't even think about it. Can you have two company of heroes?
I have no idea.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they're an epic hero or what they are. Um, you can have two command squads in a guard army, can't you?
I believe so. I just don't. I don't like it. I like the idea of having a single HQ in the army as like headquarters, not like characters. I just mean like I like the idea of a single like command point.
Yeah, I like that too. Sort of. Yeah. It
Given
if
how
any if
small our
anything you
battles
end up
are,
yeah if anything you end up with like one of those for the foot troops, and then you have the tank commander for the tanks, and that all makes sense, doesn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, which one will you be buying? 40K Fanatics fans, get in the comments and let us know what you think. I'm sure they're going to be prohibitively expensive. That's what GW does. So I don't know how much interest we'll have in talking about that bit of sticker shock when it comes to pass, because how many times do we have to be like, it's expensive? But the other
Mm,
part of it too is people keep buying it. It wouldn't be so expensive if people stopped buying it, because they charge what the market will bear, don't they? Um,
yep.
and as I always try to remind everybody, If you think this hobby's high, you should try boats and motorcycles because that's a whole nother level of ridiculous. And I know somebody in the comments will be like, boat and motorcycle and race car enthusiast here and 40K. And that guy's got no spending money left.
Yeah.
Until next time, folks, don't forget to
Stay fanatical.